All right, let's talk footy. Um,
Talking footy with Sam and Nath.
keep telling you I don't want a jingle yet. Um, right, 41 points.
41.
Almost felt kind, if I'm honest. I think we were poor. Anyway, um,
41 point. Well, that's horrible in the end, really. Like, the first thing I want to come out with was that we kicked 4 goals in the first quarter and then proceeded to kick 4 goals for the next 3 quarters. That's hard to watch as a supporter because you go, hey, look at us, we're all right. And then you watch the next 3 quarters and go, hey, look at us, we're shit.
mm, I think what was there's little moments, there's little bits of games where you look back at and go, geez, if that hadn't happened, what would the game have looked like? And I don't want to criticise, and I'm not naming names to
Mm.
criticise, it's just naming names because that's what happened.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right at the end of the first quarter, I think it was Laverde, could have got the ball out of bounds. He
Ridley.
didn't, or Ridley was it? Okay, Ridley.
Yep.
He didn't, it got kept in, Dangerfield socketed it forward, and then they kicked the goal.
Oh, hang on. The first one. No, the goal oh, sorry. I think I know what you're talking about. I was talking about where Ridley had the opportunity to tap
Oh,
it
no,
through
no, no,
for a
no, no.
point.
So, no, so this is on half forward
Yep. Sorry.
where I
Yep.
think
Sorry.
it
My
was
bad.
Laverde could have got the ball out of bounds.
Yep.
Wasn't
Although
able
we'd
to
been
do
pinged
it.
for that a little bit, so maybe they were a bit
No, no,
nervous.
that was part of the contest, and this was early. He just did not
Mm,
get the ball
fair enough.
over. Danger run forward, socket it forward, and then Ridley, probably rightfully, let's be honest, got pinged for deliberate
Yeah, but
bounce.
what he should have done is just taken it over
Taking
the
it through the
hit it over
points.
the
Yeah,
points, and the umpire couldn't have called that because he was within he was pressure and he was within the space.
yeah. So
Yeah.
my point there is that it was a fairly needless goal.
Yep.
If we get the stoppage on half forward, the throw in, they don't kick a goal in the first quarter.
Mm.
Maybe they still come out and kick eight
Yeah, of course.
in the
But there
next
was
quarter. But
95% of that quarter we really played good footy.
we could have held Geelong goalless in the first quarter and just kept pushing away. And we did. We were sort of level for the first couple of minutes of the second quarter. Like they didn't just come out of the blocks and start kicking
Yep.
goals on us. But as soon as they got that goal, I went. I
Mm.
kind of sensed it. I felt it was coming. And the longer they go goalless, the more pressure builds on them, and they don't
Mm.
get that break free sort of footy.
Yeah,
Um,
it was hard to watch though that last half. Like second quarter was just disappointing, and I think we all would say that for them to kick. I think like 7 goals to our
eight.
8 to our 1.
Yeah.
That's hard to watch. Like
It is
that's
difficult.
become that momentum that we can't seem to turn at the moment.
Maybe
Like
it was seven. But
yeah,
and to then have I was sitting there going, okay, Cameron's off. That's got to help. And then
yeah, same here.
Hawkins basically bobs up, well, not basically, just bobs up and kicks six or five, six.
Yeah.
We kept rowing to one, but between the three of them, they kicked 10 goals, and I don't know we even kicked 10 goals for the night.
No, we didn't. We only kicked 8.
Eight. So
I the thing that also I want to talk about was the fact that our forward entries, like inside 50s, were of 21 above theirs, I think.
inside 50s were 45 to 62 our way, so a bit
Yep.
less.
Yeah, what was inside marks? Inside 50 marks.
Oh, now you're testing me. Marks inside 50. They took 13. We took five.
5.
Yep.
You can't bomb the ball in, or kick the ball in, maybe. Well, we did bomb it in.
So
60 odd times to take 5 marks. That's one a quarter and then two in one. Like, that's just unfathomable. Like,
this was the thing, right? And this is a little bit, commentary mentioned this. This isn't my sort of thing. We were kicking the ball lower. We were
yeah,
trying to find the target for the
yeah,
first quarter and a half. Geelong
exactly.
start putting the scoreboard pressure on, and
And
all
we
of a
couldn't do it.
sudden, we went back to hack
Just booting it,
kicks.
yep. And I want to say too about those 5 marks, like a bit of that falls on a lot of that I think falls on the forwards and their leading patterns also, but also a fair bit of it falls on the midfielders or the defenders, whoever is kicking the ball. Because there were some kicks to the forward line were just horrible. They went over, like there was one that went over Tipper's head from Parish.
Yeah,
There was another one where they made a bad choice. Like I think it was Waterman running along the wing and he kicked it to someone that was a one-on-one, but we had 3 Essendon players on the other side of that, just all by themselves. And there were bad choices from the guys running in, which is what I find hilarious because they practice that during the week, like, training. Like, when you're running in, make good choices. And
They did, and they did for a little bit. I think that's the
They
issue.
did
As soon
for
as they got
15 minutes.
under a bit of pressure, it all went
Yeah.
to shit. I think that is disappointing to go to Geelong and get more ball inside 50 and to be
Yeah.
beaten that badly. One on the scoreboard, but then two with your marks.
And we were good in the
And
clearances. Like, we weren't horrible there. The numbers were fine. Like,
that was the same against Melbourne. Melbourne took a lot of marks
Yep.
inside 50 and we didn't.
So the data tells you that we're getting it in the middle, we're kicking it forward, but it's coming back out really quickly, and the other teams are going back up the other end and scoring.
Yep.
And the defenders are defending about as well as we expect they could. Because I thought the defenders were fine. Like Stewart, probably had some bad moments against
Stewart had a
Cameron.
shocker because he was poor against Cameron. Then Cameron went off, so he ended up playing on Hawkins, and he was poor against Hawkins.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Like,
I'm okay with it.
You're going to have a bad game. It just sort of sucked for him that he went from one guy and then would have gone, oh, God, thank God he's off.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then gets the job on.
I always let
on
player
Hawkins.
have a bad game. Players are allowed to have a bad game. That's totally acceptable. It's when they have 2 or 3 in a row, and that's
We'll
a guy like Hooker.
Yeah, we'll get to the individuals.
Yeah.
But you learn more from a bad game than a good game, to be fair.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. You're allowed to have a bad game.
Just overall as well, I thought it was interesting. Geelong went 1.75 kicks to handballs, so they kicked a lot.
Yep.
A lot more. Their season average is 1.5. So 1.75 is quite high.
Yep.
For a team with that stat. We were 1.33, which is actually above our average too, but I thought we overhandballed again. It just, you could get ourselves under pressure because the handballs are poor in themselves. We handball to ground or handball to the bloke's feet and they've got to stop or they've got to slow down. We just can't seem to get the handball in front. And that puts pressure on you.
And it is one of our problems. I think we still have a few guys that are really good football players, or our better football players that still don't kick or handball that well.
Mm.
And again, not individualising, but Parrish, his kicking can be suspicious sometimes.
Yes.
Great player.
Kick to handball, though, I did a bit more diving into that. It's not a stat that sort of indicates you as a team, though. Dogs, I had a quick look. The Dogs are 1.16. So Dogs are nearly 1-to-1 in terms of kick to handball. So they handball a lot. And they're quite a good side. Probably flag favourites now, maybe. St Kilda, been pretty poor. Again, just from a quick look, have the highest. They're 1.6. So that sort of stat, kicking doesn't make you a better side, but I think the difference is that the Dogs handball and handball well because their structures are amazing. Anyway, it's not a be all and end all stat. I'm not saying we need to kick more, handball less, but I think if we're going to handball, it needs to be better than what we've seen.
And it's about how we use it and who we're giving it to. There's so many factors in all that sort of stuff. Like, you're trying to get it on the outside to a guy that's going to make he's got a better view of the field ground up the ground. So if you're handballing to get out of congestion, that makes sense. But if you're just handballing sideways, just because you don't want to kick it, or there's no forward options and you're stopping and sort of handballing sideways to try and there's just no other options.
Yeah.
Then that's where the problem is. I felt like our forward structures fell down a few times when we were trying to go forward, that the forwards aren't there, and now they seem to get sucked up into the... And I know they're up chasing their defenders, but I don't know. What's Hooker's great point should be he should just stay inside the 50 a bit more and...
If you get him in a one-on-one against sides that aren't top 4, he's going to take a lot of marks.
But once the ball hits the ground, they're going to just run away from him.
He's cooked. Yeah. If we're playing a Geelong or a Melbourne, I don't think isolating him would have been the answer because May and Stewart, although Stewart wasn't actually on him for the most part. They're good defenders. They're good defenders.
Stewart was on Waller, I think, for most of it I saw. Or...
Strange.
Yeah. I think that's their setup. They want... Anyway, we won't go into that.
He's not going to really excel unless we're playing a poor side. Or a lesser side. An equal side, maybe.
Yeah, equal.
Some other stats I'm just looking at for the match. We did win tackles, which is nice. It shows a bit of...
That's one of Dev Smith's. When Dev Smith laid that tackle on Dangerfield, or Drama Field, as I like to call it.
About 3 minutes after I suggested Devon Smith be dropped because he squibs out of a mark. Yep.
And I was like, I texted you back, sure? And... Yeah, I was like, that I thought, oh, we're up and about. Like, that's maybe Smith plays a good game here. Gets back into tackle. We're up and about here. And then,
No such luck. And an interesting one here, tackles inside 50. We made 15 tackles inside our forward 50. Geelong made 4. You could argue, though, that is down to
because they
their
were
entry
marking.
and they were marking everything. But 15 tackles inside our forward 50, that's good pressure, at
Yeah,
least
it's
from
very
the
good pressure.
forwards when the ball hit the deck.
Mm.
We spent 45 minutes in front, too. A 25
Yeah,
point lead. That's heartbreaking.
I know it's hard. It was hard. It was a heartbreaking game because my hatred for Geelong is strong,
Huge, yeah.
but I still, I don't know. I still will try and look at this as a glass half full because there's a good side. As I've said to you for a while now, I think there's a good side in there, and you saw that in that first quarter and a little bit, and then I saw it a little bit in the third quarter. But I just, there's also a side that, wow,
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, this is what we know. As a whole, I think we might see a bit more of that. It's hard to tell because we've played Melbourne and Geelong, 2 top 4 sides in the last 2 weeks. But
yep,
Cox, we'll go on to the individuals now. Cox
yeah,
is worrying me. I don't care that he's playing poorly, but he seems to have really dropped off. Like he seems to be really
yeah,
tired or really sore, whatever.
yep,
He's just not about it. And he
and yep,
finally got a possession on Friday night and then kicked it straight to the opposition as well. And that it's frustrating because it's like, dude, all right, you're not getting the ball, you're struggling, whatever. But
yep,
when you get the ball, when you get your chance, you got to do better than that.
yep. I did read a stat about it's not on the AFL website about how our midfielders, our senior midfielders like Merritt and Parrish and those sort of guys played a lot more midfield time than the Geelong midfielders like Dangerfield and that. And the conversation was around the fact that because they're trying to stay on the field more to try and cover those young kids that we've got because we've got, you know, as you said, Perkins, Cox, even Draper's, probably still not playing a lot of game time, Jones and all that sort of guys. So we've got a lot of kids that are wearing out. It's around 16 now, whatever. And these young kids are starting to, it's a long season, their bodies starting to just get a bit more tired,
Yep.
and that means that the senior players are trying to carry
Well,
more time on ground and all that sort of stuff. So
just on that, Perkins played 64%.
yeah, so that's bugger all.
Jones played 80%. Cox played 81%. So, and Draper played 82. So that's pretty standard, I think.
But what did Merritt and those sort of guys?
So our tops, Ridley played 97, Stewart played 94, the poor bugger. Merritt played 87, Langford 86, Parrish 86. Parrish is quite often low. Parrish is quite often around
Yeah.
the 80% mark.
Mm. Can you look at Geelong's just out of curiosity?
Well, Lockie Henderson 100%, Hawkins 98%, Henry 97%.
What
They're
about their
mids
midfielders?
though. So you like,
Dangerfield,
oh
half
mate,
fit,
Danger
Guthrie.
had to scroll a long way. So Danger got 37 touches from 75% game time. He didn't play an entire quarter of football.
Mm.
That's horrific. Guthrie played 66%, but he only had 16
Yeah, he
touches.
didn't touch the ball much. What about Selwood would be the other one, probably.
Selwood 28 touches from 64%. So
So
geez, they rotate
yeah, they
them.
rotate, but they're rotating through their
Right.
midfield, not their forwards and defenders. Whereas the point I'm just trying to make is that our midfielders are getting worked hard to cover
Yep.
the other, the Parfit, the Perkins and the Cox sort of guys that are in there as well, and Ham. Ham was, if we're
Yes.
going to talk individuals, I just can't see his position. He's too small. He's too crappy. I can't handle him. I'd rather see Guelphy in there, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, I think they might swap, and they might be trying to work out who is the better option out of those two, especially when Caldwell's a long way
Yeah,
away.
cool, but
Shield comes back. That's one of their positions. Just back on Cox and that, you get your first or second kick for the night and you kick it straight to the opposition.
yep,
What I liked, Harry Jones, I believe he got his first touch in the second or third quarter. I think the second quarter.
yep,
Took a mark, kicked the goal.
yep.
And it was just at a time when in the second quarter, obviously they were scoring heavily, but you don't
Yep.
have to have a lot of the ball, especially as a key forward. You don't have to do a lot of that, but when you get
Mm.
your goddamn chance, kick the goal. And he did.
And if we want to have a quick word about the commentators, it was right then that I turned off Brian Taylor because Harry's stats came up and Brian goes, "Well, that's an awful lot of donuts."
Yeah.
You wanker.
Wow. I could spend a lot of time talking about the commentary.
Oh.
I was done with it when, and this will lead on nicely into Parrish. Parrish kicked a lovely goal from the pocket. He fought and fought and fought and fought and then kicked a lovely goal. It was just a really good goal.
Great goal.
And they barely raised their voice, barely got excited. And then you've got, if that was a Dangerfield or a Selwood, that'd be the best thing ever, and it'd be the champ and this and that. And it's like, well, mate, it's a good goal, so just commentate on the goal. Doesn't matter who kicks it. It was a brilliant effort and a brilliant goal. And then later on in the game, I think it was last quarter, it was one of the final daggers through the chest. Peter Wright or Sam Draper went to do the big team's big spoil over the line. It was the right thing to do, fully the right thing to do, and he just spoiled it straight into Hawkins' arms, who just made a little run and kicked a goal. And they went off like Hawkins is the GOAT, and how amazing was that? It's like, okay, he made the run. It doesn't take a high IQ player to realise we were probably going to try and spoil that over the line.
On that, though, I would have preferred to have seen Draper try and mark it because he did use two hands to punch it. I don't like that. It's one of my pet little peeves. If you can put two hands up to hit it, you can put two hands up to mark it.
I agree. This isn't the point. The commentary
I agree with your point.
Over the top for that, and then Parrish kicks a nice goal, and it's just glossed over. It's just a bit... And they were on Geelong all night. I felt it from
I felt that
the
too.
get-go.
But again, I don't know if that's because I'm a mad Essendon idiot or just...
I always think that, but Jesus, they were shocking. We need fan TV.
I agree.
We need some fans out there who know a bit more than us, that can commentate on a game of footy, and I can choose to listen to some biased Essendon people. I don't care.
It'll be on sync with the game too, not just some poor radio.
It's not press red for red, it's press red for pleb.
This one's
I can't with that one on mine.
All right. Then we've just a couple of players I want to mention for me who were goods and bads.
Yes, okay, you go first. Yep.
I'm going to do the bads first.
Okay, fair enough.
In a loss, it is sometimes about the bad ones.
We got to end on the positives as well, so that's good.
Yeah, you got to get rid of your spite. Hooker.
I
think we'll both agree on this. 3 weeks in a row where now he's getting probably worse. No, that was his worst of the three. He had 5 possessions. They were all handballs. Didn't have a kick. Like the only time he flung his boot at it was when he actually missed.
Yeah.
He didn't take a mark. Like, I don't expect him to kick 5 goals, but why isn't he up the ground occasionally on a wing taking a mark up there, or just, I don't know, can he not take a mark?
So Guelphy had more metres gained than Hooker, and Guelphy didn't play a single second of the game.
He got negative metres gained.
-8.
Jesus Christ.
Which with 5 handballs isn't a shock.
Yeah. But 5 handballs is just deplorable.
But only 3 tackles.
Yep.
I mean, it's not the worst, but it's not great either.
No, it's shit. Let's just call it what it is, mate. I'm not having... I love Hooker, and I just... 3-4 weeks ago, we were thinking, geez, we might be able to sign him for another year next year. And just, plonk him as that big body, depending on who else comes in and out, whatever the other, but he might just soldier through. Now I'm saying I don't think he's playing at the end of the year.
I think he gets time against, we've got Adelaide, North Melbourne coming up. So we've got a few teams either around us or below us, where I think we've played 2 of the best teams in the competition.
It doesn't excuse the fact that he didn't take a mark.
Grain of salt, and the fact that he has been good for the first half of the year gives him a little bit of time, just a little bit of time.
3 weeks now in a row, has not. He's been our bottom 3 or 4 player. So if it's 4 weeks in a row, when do we say 5 weeks in a row? When's enough?
Well, we play Adelaide, and then I think we play North. So those 2 games are probably going to be.
All right. We'll come back to discuss at the end of the North game then. Fair?
Let me just double check that is in fact the
order. In 2 more games, we'll give him 2 more games, and we'll see where he's at.
Adelaide, then North.
The other one for me was Sam Draper. I felt that he just looked tired. He looked. I know Phillips. I believe Phillips is still injured, but I watched a bit of the VFL game beforehand with Nick Bryant. He's got talent, and I don't know how it would work as a structure, but I would like to see 2 more capable ruckmen because I think actually, if you look at hit-outs, was it last week or this? No, I think he did well in the hit-outs actually, Draper. But last week, yeah, he had 34 hit-outs, so he was good in that. But
He
around the
wasn't.
ground, he just looked.
He also wasn't against a recognised ruckman.
No, Reece Stanley is not anyone you write home about. So I don't know. I'm just saying that I'm worried about fitness, I guess.
Well, Phillips is 3 to 4 weeks with a hamstring. If that's the case, I got no issue, especially with Draper's whistle there, especially with Draper's knee
Yep.
and injury history. Give him a spell. Bring Brian in.
For a game, just a
We
game
play
or two.
Adelaide, so
Yeah,
your
who's a
mate,
great ruckman,
what's his name? Riley O'Brien.
and then
And
Goldstein.
then
So
Goldstein.
they're two
So-
bigs. I'm just saying you're going to need a better second ruckman.
Well, does he play as a second ruckman, or do we give Draper a spell?
Well, I don't know because I think the problem is when I don't know if Draper's going forward. I don't think he is.
No.
Like when he's going off, and that means Peter's coming on into the ruck, which means we're then relying on Hooker as our only big. And Harry Jones, but I'm not putting any pressure on him, and we're relying as Hooker. So I think that's when we're starting to see that. Geez, we look a bit ordinary, and because Draper's can't get 82% out of game time. That's not a lot. Like then I think that's when we're becoming vulnerable. Now if we're playing Adelaide and North Melbourne, who have got two very, very good ruckmen, I think it's going to be an issue. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, they're my two negatives. Do you want to throw yours?
Yes, okay, but that's a conversation for the preview, I think. I mean, I share your thoughts on Hooker. He was poor. I thought Waterman did a couple of silly things. Just again had the ball and he missed a goal at a crucial time when he had a lot more time than he thought. And I know perceived pressure and all that. It's difficult in the moment, but it's just those little moments that can hurt.
Made some bad decisions.
Had a set shot. It dropped a metre short. They get the ball through. I harp on that a lot. Just kick it to 15 out. Don't give them the easy option to spoil.
Yep. Fair enough.
So that frustrated me. And Cutler. Cutler did nothing. We talked about Cutler in the preview. I barely noticed him.
I don't know what role. I couldn't work out where he was playing.
Well, he's a utility. Be everywhere. A bit.
He's a winger, I assume. That he's,
yeah.
The way he's running around,
I think he spent most of the time sort of helping out the defenders.
Because they did it.
Well, they did this time. That's fine. Snelling did something silly in the first quarter. I can't remember what it was, but I remember.
But after that was very good.
And after that was quite good. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I would rate his game. I thought he was good down back.
Langford frustrated me. He seemed sloppy. He seemed to give the ball away. If I go back into the...
You only had two, Sam. You're being very aggressive.
Well, no. That's fine. It was a couple of days ago. You'd be grateful I've had some time to just calm my farm.
Oh, I couldn't have done this tonight after. I might have swore all the way through it.
Yeah. Anyway, Langford frustrated me a little bit for various reasons. Just a little bit Kyle Langford stuff. That will do me for negatives. I felt sorry for Stewart more than him being poor. I think.
As I said, I can excuse guys, and he's not a kid. Guy, and he's playing his position, doing what he did, having a bad game. Tomahawk and Cameron
Against
are
a very good forward, yeah.
Very, very good football players. Look, I don't have a problem with that. Whereas to me, Hooker, I was more frustrated. He's a senior player. He's had 2 bad weeks. He needed a lift, and he didn't play a good game at all. That's what frustrated me. I'm not bagging him. I'm just saying it was disappointing, and he needs to be better next week or the week and the weeks after that.
Yeah. Now, I feel like a good sort of person to recording this would throw to you for your positives. I'm going to start with a positive, and we'll both talk about him.
You rip into it.
And,
you go first.
I'm looking at the wrong stat page.
You got to go from Essendon players, mate. We're not doing Geelong.
So, found it. It's all good. Calm down. No, I didn't find it, actually. Darcy Parish. Do
you want me to fill?
No. Darcy Parish. So...
It's an obvious one.
We know he had a very good game. What I want to point out is that he had 43 touches, 28 of them contested. Now, that was an Essendon record. So that's 2 Essendon records Darcy's broken this year.
He won the medal again, which is the only person ever to win the 3 medals.
Yes. And the most contested possessions in a game. Now, I believe this is from about 1965. So, Ben Cunnington, 32. Patrick Dangerfield, 29. Josh Kennedy, 29. I'm assuming that's the Sydney. Chris Judd, 28. and Jude Bolton 28.
Wow.
So Das joined Chris Judd
Pretty good.
on 28, equal
Pretty good
third.
company.
Very good company. Other players around him: Clayton Oliver, Tom Mitchell, Ben Cunnington again, Dangerfield again, Gary Ablett, Jack Viney, Lockie Neal.
If he makes his kicking elite, he's an elite. He's in the. He can. You can talk about him with anyone. I mean, of course, he's got to keep doing this, and it's been a great 8-week, sort of 9-week sort of run, and he seems to keep doing it, and it's awesome. But if he can fix up his kicking, he's a top 5-10 player, easy.
Yeah. And I think that's the frustrating thing, is that him and Merritt are the same here in that they break away from the stoppage so beautifully, run, and they have time, and then kick it poorly.
Butcher.
And
No, I don't know, because when you're on telly as opposed to at the ground, you can see a bit more of what the forwards are doing. Like, are the forwards halfway through a lead and they've shot back the other way just as going to kick it?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
All that sort of stuff. But a lot of the kicks to me were just floaty, sort of up, not, Anyway, but I'm not going to complain. I think the guy's finally playing a role we all knew he was capable of doing.
Yeah. So 28 contested possessions, 15 inside 50s. Which, when we're saying our entries are poor, 15's a lot, and you got to reflect on that.
I'd love to know how many of those were butchered, of those 15.
Disposal efficiency, 75%, which, I mean, you've got 30 effective disposals out of 40 effectively there. It's not horrible. Yep. Intercept possessions, 10.
Is that meters gained? I can see 908.
908, yeah.
Not that I care for that stat.
No, you think it's
I think it's stupid because the defenders run forward, and it's very hard for the forwards to have meters gained.
Yeah, I think for a midfielder stat, it probably shows a little bit. Right? But when you're winning the ball at the centre bounce and then just hacking it forward, you're getting 50 metres every time. You do that.
It's very easy to do as a midfielder too, I guess.
But if you're comparing against other midfielders, then I guess it's relevant. Sort of.
It's about how he uses the ball. He has no trouble getting it. He has no trouble making good decisions. It's just now about how he gets rid of it. And that's disposal. He's only 24, isn't he? I want to say.
Oh, so I swear we look at this every week.
I know, but he's got a lot of footy to go if he keeps playing.
He's 23. He's 24 very soon. Phenomenal game from him. I really liked Jake Stringer early. All right, sorry. No, you go. You talk about Jakey.
I just was going to say about Jake Stringer is that we talked about this when he had that game against Hawthorn. We want to see 25 possessions, tackles, and a goal more often. And he's done it 3 weeks in a row. And I know that he faded. I know he wasn't as good, but he's doing what we asked him, and that's exciting for me.
And it's a little bit of a cliche that when you're away from home, which, I mean, we weren't really away from home, but it was a very pro-Geelong crowd. Yeah. If we won that game, our start was always going to be critical. As it is, we got a great start and didn't keep it going. But Jake had 3 goals in the first quarter, I think. So 25 touches and 3 goals. And 5
tackles.
That
he wants to kick the goal. I like guys like that in the end because...
There is
by the sword, die by the sword. When he does it, it's awesome.
And so often we have players who get the ball in a goal-scoring position and try and pass it. So if you're a forward, and I would love to know, Truck, if you're listening, what the coaches are saying on that. Because if you're a forward and you've got a set shot, 9 times out of 10, unless you're on the fence, back yourself to kick it. I don't understand this selflessness to try and find a teammate, and then you turn the ball over and you lose the opportunity to score.
Especially when all the momentum's going forward, if you turn the ball over at that stage, you can.
They are going to score. Yeah,
because they're all out the back, or all the defenders of the other team are already behind you. So if the ball gets turned over, they're gone. Yeah.
So agree. I love the guy, and like you say, live by the sword, die by the sword. If he misses it, he looks like a dickhead. But that's the thing.
He seems to.
He doesn't.
Yeah. Go next one.
The other one naturally there is Zach Merritt, who 36 touches, which is amazing in its own right. 9 inside 50s. He only went at 63% efficiency or 64%, so that I guess is a little bit down, or a lot down, especially when we were talking about Das maybe not being perfect with 75%. And 25 of those uncontested, so that sort of suggests he's getting an uncontested ball and not using it overly well. It is a little bit flawed in that mids kicking into the forward line where it's pretty much always going to be a 50-50, your disposal efficiency is naturally down a little bit. But I think what we've already talked about, going forward, we are struggle town. So that probably all plays into that. But him and Parrish just bursting away from contests, it's enough to just keep me happy.
It's the future of the footy club. Mine's a bit controversial. You might not agree, but I'm going to go with Will Stelling. He made some mistakes. There was a couple. I think he was one of those guys who was running in and he kicked it to someone when he should have just banged it on the boot and had a shot. But for a first game back, 5 clearances. He was good in close, 24 possessions. He's the guy that when you compare him to Ham and Guelphy, look, he's not a superstar at club, but as I've talked about, it's often the bottom 6 of your club that becomes really important to be a good side. And he's, I guess in some ways I see him as, he's not overly talented, but geez, he performs every week. He gets the job done and he usually kicks a goal. But 24 touches, 5 clearances from a guy who we picked up in a mid-season draft, I'm always happy to take that on in a team.
Yeah, that's just such a bonus too. When the guy was out of a mid-season draft.
Yeah. Because if he becomes like the 21st guy picked in a team, then that's a good team.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've harped on that a little bit. We've got a couple of those guys. I put, like, Snelling, as you say, not going to be your best on ground very often, but will get the job done. I put Hind in that same category.
Yeah,
he's capable of a best on, but if he plays well, it really, really benefits the team. Because we know we're going to get 25 out of Merritt and Parrish. 99% of the time. In fact, maybe
and
even
McGrath
30.
when they play, and guys like
you know what you're going to get. They're your top players.
Yep.
You're right. It's those bottom line or bottom 6, bottom 10 in your side that if they play well, if they play their role, and the opposite of that's probably Dev Smith. Kick 2 points, could kick 2 goals. Would have been handy. Just the 4 tackles, I think that is there. Yeah, just 4 tackles. So that's an example of where maybe he's in the middle of the road in terms of where he's picked in the side and, top or bottom.
Yeah, and 12 disposals is just not enough for him too.
That's not enough.
Yeah. He's not either influencing the ball when he doesn't have it, like with tackles, or when he's got it, he's not doing something that he's, kicking the goals that we expect. So he's somewhere in the middle at the moment, and that either needs to change or he will be questioned.
Again, and there's a few guys coming back. It will put pressure on them as well.
Yes.
I was disappointed with him in the first quarter, as I mentioned earlier. He had a chance running back with the flight to take a mark and would have put us 5 goals up, I believe. He didn't. He kind of chickened out.
He did wimp out, but
I'm not going to be running headfirst into a pack, but I'm not a professional footballer. So, mate, put your body on the line and take the mark. I don't care. There's no excuse.
Yeah, no. Understand. I thought McDonald Tipping Woody was again a bit. I'm not going to go back. I'm not going to finish on negative, but he was a bit.
Yeah, I guess the saving grace for Waller is 4 tackles and 2 goals.
Yeah.
4 tackles isn't huge.
Sometimes what frustrated me a little bit about him was that there was a couple of contests where the tall forwards weren't there contesting it, and he was standing underneath waiting for a crumb. And I'm like, well, and it was just a Geelong mark. And he sort of stand there watching him go, well, look, at one point you have to realise there's no Essendon players coming in, mate. There's no point standing there waiting for a crumb. That ain't going to happen.
It's not going to come, yeah.
You've got to just sort of, I'm just going to have to throw the body in here and just see if we can get this ball to ground and somebody else might do the work. But a couple of times you've just looked at it and went, no one's coming.
Yeah. We're gonna finish on negatives here because I've just thought of something else.
It's what happens with a loss. It all turns to shit.
Get in the comments, tell us what we could do better. Don't mention planning. I talked about it last week. My favourite saying from last week, overload ball side. We get sucked to the footy so much, and it just gives the opposition free ball.
Yep.
Out
free
the
balls.
back, out the side, whatever. It just infuriates me. Same with aerial contests. We get sucked to the footy, and then they've got no one on the ground. They win the ball.
Yep.
They being any opposition, really. Far too easily. we are doing okay with clearances, so we can win the ball from that scenario. But I think general sort of play, when the ball hits the deck from marking contests or just 50-50 balls around the ground, we are poor. And I think I mean, I'm a pleb, but it seems to be a structural thing, or maybe it's just a youthful exuberance thing where they want to chase the footy. That's fine. But if we could sort of break even around those contests, we'd probably be a 2 or 3, 4 goal better side. But that's frustrating for me. I hate when we're in a 50-50 scrap and the opposition get clean ball. Clean ball. Because we never get clean ball. We're under the pump all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So truck? No. Okay.
Go. Tell him, Sam.
Nah. I'll sign up as a contractor and
Consultant, you mean?
consultant. That's the word. Yep. Thanks. I knew it started with C.
A lot of things do.
Yes. All right. Anything else?
Nah, look, we move on to next week. We see how we go. That's the motto. We move on to next week. We put it behind us. We have our learnings. That's the word.
We play Adelaide. I believe it's meant to be Friday night. That was in the Herald Sun, so God knows it's not on the AFL website yet. But
And it's that metric or Marvel, sorry.
Be Marvel, yeah.
Yeah. Roof
So-
closed. That'll be good.
No,
news.
roof open because of COVID.
What? Oh, for fuck.
It's all right. Footy's meant to be played outside. That's okay. They won't have techs. We'll talk about this. They won't have techs, which after Hawkins has probably given James Stewart nightmares is a wonderful little thing. And we're playing a team around us. That's nice. It should be a good game. Adelaide are more than capable of winning that. So we'll chat. We'll do our preview on Thursday night.
Sounds good.
Righto.
We'll have forgotten about this game by then.
Unlikely, but
No, just burnt. Really burnt.
yeah. All right. I'll talk to you then.